Welcome. We are back with Ann Ball to talk about emotion code, what it is, and the benefits of pairing it with massage therapy. So we'll get right into it. And what is emotion code?
The emotion code is an energy healing modality that releases trapped emotions from the body. So emotions can get stuck if we're not feeling our feelings fully, if we are stuffing them down, not allowing ourselves to feel. And with time, so you can think of emotion as just energy. So storing that in the body, and with time, it can contribute to pain, illness, allergies, anxiety, depression, blockages, pretty much anything and everything.
And for those of you who have those areas that are holding tension, no matter what you try and do, keep listening because this is important. So, what are the benefits of having an emotion code session?
Yeah, so I've seen some pretty amazing transformations. So when the emotions release, the first thing people notice is they feel a lot lighter and clear. And even people who aren't sensitive to energy feel like they can just feel things moving and shifting, and they don't feel as weighed down as before the session. And if we're working on something specific, say like pain in their knee or their back, that lessens. And I've seen people who have had pain in their body for like decades not have it anymore after 2 to 3 sessions, which is incredible. Yeah, like you were saying, those times when you have something that just doesn't go away, no matter what you've tried, that's most likely an emotion, a stuck emotion in the body, keeping that pain in place so your body can't fully heal.
And so often when you have like that chronic pain, you're like, it won't go away no matter what I tried. You can also, one, you don't need to think about it on your own because that's what emotion code is for. But if you reflect on if anything happened in your life when that pain started, rather than like enduring it, that's still a thing and there's emotion with that. But lots of times there's something that happened in your life where that just spontaneously appeared. So there is huge, huge benefits. So, what does an emotion code session look like and feel like?
Yeah, so for distance, I connect to your subconscious, or you can think of it as your body's energy. And for those of you who are new to that, energy can transcend time and space. So even if we're just talking over the phone or over video, I'm still able to connect to your energy. And then I muscle test for you. So muscle testing is your body just giving you yes or no answers. And with that, we ask your body if it has a trapped emotion contributing to whatever it is you want to work on. And if you do, then we can narrow down what emotion it is. And after that, we ask what age you were when that happened. And usually I would say like over 90% of the time when I say the emotion and the age, people will be like, oh yeah, I went through like a really bad breakup, or this is when this happened. And they know immediately what they were going through at that point in time. And just with that awareness, we can start to release the emotion. For the client, they take some really deep breaths to move it and shift it. And then on my end, I use intention and magnetic energy, and it shifts. And the amazing thing about the emotion code is once you release the emotion, it is gone for good from that point in time when you felt it, which is incredible.
It is a beautiful experience and super cool when you're going through the different ages and the emotions. And then so many times there will be something that comes up and you're like, okay, like I know that phased me, but I'm over it. Your body might not be over it. So
No.
it's really, really fascinating. And then, do you want to talk a bit about how you might be holding an emotion that's not from your lifetime?
Yeah, so the other really interesting thing with the emotion code is you can have emotions from in utero. So when you were in your mother's womb, if your mom was going through something really heavy and had some really big emotions, you can actually hold on to that energy as well. So that is a really amazing thing to release. And then the other thing that you can discover with the emotion code is something called inherited trapped emotions, which is from your ancestral lineage. So it could be from mom or dad's side, and it could go back many, many generations. And I've seen, like, from war times, emotions being passed on. And the great thing with the inherited trapped emotion is you can release it from everyone that it got passed down to. So any aunties, uncles, cousins, siblings. It's pretty amazing to see.
That is super cool. And I know from my sessions with you that even not knowing a lot about family history or like what might have happened specifically, you know the time at which like your grandma and grandpa lived or whatever it might be. So you can kind of put together a vague piece of the puzzle, and sometimes that's all you need. And is it accurate that sometimes you don't even need to know what the trapped emotion is from?
Yeah, you don't need to know. I mean, sometimes you will know, but like you said, if you're not super close with your family, you don't need to know. It's just a blessing that you're able to release it for them and everyone involved.
And the extra power about that is if that emotion isn't released, it will carry through the future generations as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, it can. So yeah,
changing lives, all of them.
Yeah, you're kind of stopping that trauma and that pattern, which is amazing.
And is there any physical sensations that someone might experience during a session?
Yeah, so energy moving, which everyone feels different. You can feel cold, you can feel warm, you can feel tired and yawn. Sometimes gassy can happen. Or yeah, just that shift in your body, just feeling things flow and move.
The more things shift and the more sessions that I had, it was yawning. So it's really cool to see how you progress throughout the sessions. And then I know by our last session, it was like yawning straight through because that's just how my body was releasing that energy. So it's really cool to see what's happening and how it is released. Is there anything like, let's say, your body releases energy a certain way and you're just like not a fan of it at all? Like, let's say maybe my jaw hurt and I was just yawning all the time. Is there any sort of guidance that we could do to be like, okay, when I release, can it shift to release this way instead, or not really, you just take what you get?
Well, I'm sure you could ask your body, just can you release this in another way?
Perfect. And then how does one know when they should come for an emotion code session?
Yeah, so if they're experiencing that pain in the body, like we were mentioning earlier, that just won't go away no matter what they've tried and they've held on to it for many, many years. Or if you're holding on to a pattern, like say no matter what you do, you cannot save money. There's something there. There's an energy holding that pattern in place because you know in your mind that you want to save money, but you're just self-sabotaging. So there's something there. And that goes for anything, any sort of habits, addictions, maybe even relationships. We didn't touch on heart walls, but that's another aspect of the emotion code. So very similar, but the emotions are around your heart, acting as that guard, that wall to protect you. So you know that you need a session if you are having a hard time feeling open and connected, or having a hard time keeping a relationship, things like that, or maybe attracting the wrong kind of people in your life.
Those are really cool benefits of it and ways to know to have a session, because it's not always things you think about. You're like, okay, I just need to read this book or do this exercise, when there could be something within you that you're not even aware of yet. So there's options for you. You're not crazy, go for a session.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention, obviously the obvious is if you're feeling very emotional. So if you're feeling, anxious, sad, just can't get out of feeling that way, then yeah, that would really benefit you as well.
Or the roller coaster of emotions and you just can't figure out why, book a session. So then does it matter if they have a distance session or if they go for a session in person?
They're both really effective and work the same. I find, because I've experienced both, that for me, distance sessions felt more comfortable because, as you can imagine, a lot of big things and heavy things can come up during these sessions from your past. So it feels very vulnerable, and sometimes you cry, and it's kind of nice to be in the comfort of your own home. But in-person sessions are nice too because I like to add in Reiki and other energy healing modalities. But yeah, they both are very effective. It's just kind of whatever feels best for you.
I totally agree with that. I know between both of my sessions, both of course are awesome, and it's really the atmosphere. So sometimes it's nice, just like you said, to be vulnerable in your home where you're already comfortable being vulnerable. And then if you just need to lay there and cry after, you could just lay there and cry. You don't need to drive anywhere. You don't need to go anywhere.
Yeah, sure.
And how often do people need to come for emotion code sessions or heart wall sessions?
So for the emotion code, kind of depending on what you're working on, I would say each condition is between 1 to 2 sessions. So it is nice to do them like weekly. And then for the heart wall, it takes about 4 to 6 sessions, and that's done weekly as well. And then after that, it's kind of just maintenance whenever you're feeling off.
Perfect. And then you have a little discovery call that people can do too, right? If they're wanting to learn more about it, but just not quite sure if they should book a session.
Yeah, I do. So I have it at a lower rate, and we try it and you learn more about it, and you get to try it and release 5 emotions.
That's awesome, like a little sample. So you can start to feel comfortable and then let yourself really open up. I love it. And what can you share for people who might be hesitant to try a session or afraid to be that vulnerable?
Yeah, sure. I think you, depending on what you're going through, but I know I'm thinking of someone, a family member of mine, who's doesn't like to feel her feelings and was very hesitant when I was trying to share it with her. But you kind of just have to get to a point where, like, would you rather be in pain the rest of your life, or would you like to try something new and, release and let go and see what happens?
What I can attest to and love about emotion code is that even if, like, okay, I'm not ready to be that open, I'm not ready to be that vulnerable, you actually don't need to do anything. And connects and goes through her process. She'll say the age and she'll say the emotion, and then if there's more that needs to be known before it's released, then there might be a couple more questions. But if you're like, no, I'm not ready, not there yet, you don't even need to share your deepest, darkest secrets.
No, and yeah, definitely I've noticed too, like, men aren't always as open as women are, and I've worked on a few, and yeah, we don't need to go deep. I can tell you the emotion and the age, and that, like you said, that's all you need to know most of the time, and you can just let it go.
And then when you might get that you find an emotion, but it's not ready to be released, what happens then? Or why does that happen?
Yeah, so there's a few different reasons. So one, you could be dehydrated. So I'll invite you to drink some water. The other, which I haven't experienced yet, but was in my training, is if your spine is out of alignment, the energy for whatever reason just can't flow and move. So that could be it. And then also your body could just hit its limit for the day. So your body has to process all the emotions it releases. They come back to the surface to fully release, and kind of depending what you're working on and what you've experienced in the past, it can be a little bit heavy. So your body's only going to let you release as many emotions as it can process without overwhelming you. That's usually between 10 to 15 in one session. But yeah, your body will always let you know, so you're not feeling very emotional and tired and overwhelmed the next day.
That's beautiful. Our body has magnificent ways of keeping us safe.
Yeah.
And what benefits do you find in pairing emotion code or a heart wall session with massage therapy?
Yeah. So I think we were saying just that those aches, those pains that just won't go away. The same thing you work on every month when you go for your massage, it can really help shift that and move that so your body can actually begin to heal.
Perfect. So effective. And then the amount of clarity and comfort that comes with knowing, okay, I had this session, worked on these emotions, and then now this is gone. It's amazing the awareness that comes after a session and how much it's more like, okay, yeah, that emotion's coming back. And is that still serving me, or is it time for me to let that one flow away?
Yeah, definitely become more aware of allowing yourself to feel so it doesn't get stuck in.
Yes, I love that. You need to feel it to heal it, and it doesn't need to be as intense as you might think.
Yeah.
And is there anything that makes your practice unique in regards to emotion code and heart wall sessions?
Yeah, so I like to incorporate meditation in the beginning and at the end of my sessions to just help ease with the energy flowing and releasing with ease. And I also like to add in, depending if it's in person or distance, but sometimes both, some Reiki to also help with those emotions to easily release.
That's awesome. Really keep things moving and allow the integration to be as smooth as possible.
Yeah,
And
and
I
then
know, oh, go ahead.
I was also just going to add, like with Reiki that I've been practicing for 6 years now, I'm really used to intuitive messages, intuitive guidance coming through. So sometimes if there is a stuck emotion that you're unsure of and you really want to know what it is, then the intuitive piece can come in handy as well.
I love that. Is there anything else that you would like to add about emotion code or heart wall sessions?
Yeah, it's a really wonderful technique. I know it can, if if you haven't tried it before, it's hard to wrap your head around how it makes sense, and how your body does store onto emotions. But once you try it, it's very evident that your body is intelligent and yeah, it holds on to things. And yeah, the healing that takes place afterwards is so beautiful too, to see those shifts and less pain or pain completely gone and just feeling 100 times better is amazing to see.
I love that, and a huge point in trusting the process. Our mind so much goes to the analytical or the logical side of things, and in these sessions, it's one really powerful for just life in general, but to be open to the healing, to just trust the magic and let it just be magic. There is evidence and there is studies behind it, but if you just need to call it magic and allow yourself to really experience all it has to offer.
I love that.
And we talked about this at the end of the meditation video, and it's a really good recommendation for self-care. So if you want to touch on that again, or if you have a different one, what do you recommend that people do every day to help them live their best life?
Yeah, so maybe this time we'll kind of gear it towards the emotional body. So I think just checking in even once or twice a day just to see how you're feeling. If you are feeling those big emotions come up, breathing into them, being present with them. They say it only takes 90 seconds for you to feel your emotion for it to fully release, which isn't very long. So yeah, it's taking the time to do that every day, so you're not holding on. And like we were talking about before, you over time will start to notice that you do push things down, and it's catching yourself in that moment, not letting yourself do that anymore.
That is so impactful. I love that practice. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing all of that with us.
Well, thank you for having me.